so stoked. You know why? A is Tuesday, and then B, I'm alive, and so are you. It's the Madjef Show. And if you didn't get burned by the fire on the way in the door, then you off to a good start. I'm so glad you're here. I really am happy that you're here. Today is Tuesday, February the 9th, and you're on the Madjef Music Show, and I am your host, Madjef. That's what they call me. You can hold your applause, but unless you just can't help it. I know I say that every time you see me, but I do feel like that. You don't have to necessarily applaud for me unless you can't help yourself. And then you just go right ahead. You just go right ahead. Anyway, welcome to the Madjef Music Show. I'm stoked that you're here with me today. Today is a sad day for one reason, and that reason is that we lost someone today that was, very, very important in the world of music as we know it, and where it came from in the 60s and onward until where we are now. And that is Mary Wilson, an original member of the Supremes. She died today at the age of 76. And she was still doing shows, and she was still a very productive member of the community, and quite an amazing lady from what I understand. So, this is for Mary. Rest in peace, Mary. Pray that all is well with her family and her loved ones. Anyhow, today, man, we got another show happening, and we got another guest. It's another day. It's another show, and today I'm bringing back a gentleman that I had before because, when he was here the first time, we literally, the show was a mess. Nothing worked. Everything that was supposed to work didn't work. It was an absolute mess. So I'm bringing him back today, and we're going to try to see if we can get it going this right way this time. So without further ado, let me bring him out of the green room and introduce him again. This is Greg Schelander, producer, remixer extraordinaire. Gregory, what's happening with you, man?
Not much, I'm just chilling here in the studio.
How's the weather up there, bro? You have a lot of snow going on up there right now. What's happening
Not a lot of snow, but we are in the middle of a very cold streak. It's been below zero for the entire week, so you're much better off down there in Florida.
Well, that was kind of my plan, man. I really felt like, if my bones are gonna survive, for another 50, 60, or 70 years or whatever, I better get into a climate that is that appreciates my bones, makes my bones better. My bones are happy.
Right.
You feel me? Happy bones. So Florida's working for me, man. Lately it's been a little bit inclement, as they say. It's been colder than you would like for it to be. But, for the most part, it's been very enjoyable. It's been very enjoyable living in Florida from Minneapolis.
Yeah. Good deal.
So everybody, let me tell you a little bit about Greg, first of all. Hold on, Greg. I'll be right back. So Greg Sealander is a guy he's a music producer. He's a remixer. He's got production credits with MCA Records and DKG, and he worked on sample CDs with East West Records and people like that in the 90s. And he's a writer, producer. He's a sonic genius. The guy has, he's a guy that always has a great studio, one that that maintains a little sonic integrity. You know what I mean? And here's a couple of pictures from where he was back in the day on the left there, and the kind of where his new studio is on the right, and kind of how Greg be rolling, man. And Greg always have a nice studio, man. That's for sure. He always have a nice space, and I appreciate that about Greg. So tell me a little bit about that, man. What's the evolution of you now as a producer these days?
Well, speaking of the studio, I've always was interested in the music side. There's like two sides of the coin where you've got the creative side, and then once you're done with all the creative, you've got the sonic side. And I was equally passionate about achieving a wonderful sound as much as I was about getting a cool mix going. So, over the years, you just acquire a lot more gear. Obviously back when you and I were working together, everything was outside the box, and a lot more analog gear. Everything's more condensed down in the computer. So it's become a lot easier to work. So I've stripped down a lot of gear, but it's still, I still got this addiction to new technology and new gear and new plugins, and I can't seem to ever get enough of it. So.
Well, if you're anything like me, recently I've gone with more in the box approach to this whole thing, with plugins and stuff like that. And I know you were really a hardware guy, so I'm surprised to hear you say that you're shifting to more of an in the box work.
Yes, I've hung on to a few hardware pieces, like my mic pre and another my Fatso unit to emulated tape. That's always fun to use for tracking vocals or guitar, bass, anything. I have something like that, but everything else is pretty much in the box. I still have a lot of my Akai, my Emu, a couple Roland synths that are all archaic units that probably aren't worth much, but I feel sort of like I can't part with them for whatever reason, because they kind of they grew up with me.
I feel that. Listen, here's one of the things about Greg. If you ever go to Greg's studio to work, there's always like some wine or something to chill with. It's always a good time at the Greg's house. As a matter of fact, boy, it's more of a party up in that joint sometimes. So we had some good times, in the '90s, me and you, and it wasn't all play. We worked a lot. You know what I mean, too. We got together, had a good time, and we did unique stuff like go to Jack the Rapper, and we went down to Atlanta a couple times trying to hook up with certain artists and place our songs and our tracks with them, and we knocked on some doors back in those days, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And when we started working together, it was a very weird time for the music business. It was right when like Napster was coming out, iTunes was coming out. So the whole music business landscape was changing very dramatically, and kind of left us needing to adapt and figure out something to do in addition to just working on artist albums. And then we did those sample CDs, and they were a big hit. So that was good. And the Kush stuff that we were working on.
Well, the sample CDs, that definitely was an interesting time because we were doing mostly live music. And then we started really shifting the gears to thinking about sample-based music. We were thinking about sample-based music production a lot in the '90s, in the early '90s, before it became such a a commonplace thing. Now you can go online to certain like Splice and other things like that, Splice.com, and just download kicks and snares and hi-hats and anything you need to get your music off the ground, right? Even like the full progression, they'll even play the chords out for you or whatever, and you just get that and bring it in. Boy, I'm like, what? We used to actually record that stuff and come up with those ideas,
Yeah, I was buying sample CDs back in 1991 when I think that's pretty much when East West first came out with some of their very first sample CDs. And I thought this was like a genius idea. And now I just learned about a website yesterday called TrackLib, which has all these vinyl recordings that you can buy, like loops and licensed all this vinyl stuff right on the bat. So
interesting.
It's still a very big market.
Well, you know what, man? I want to apologize to you again because yet another technical snafu. This time we don't have live chat because the chat is not enabled. And, until I get an assistant, somebody who's up to speed to check all the boxes that I don't check, Greg, you're going to have to understand. It's a one-man show. We got to go. Thank you. Don't applaud for me unless you want to see me cry on this mother, all right? But I'm serious though. Check this out. I want to do something real quick because we talked about the sample CDs, and I want to show you a little bit of how you can get them, and so forth. But first of all, I'll show you where you can get me on social media. This is some of the places you can find me. I'll be hanging out here, you can get me there. Let's see, what else? So then we got the sample CDs, and Black Butter was a staple of the East West sample CD company in the early '90s, and it did really, really well. Ended in some litigation and so forth, but you know what? That is life, and we move on, we learn, and we keep it moving. Life is good. The last couple of those I did independently because I learned real quick that I better take ownership of my own junk if I expect to ever make any money doing anything with it. All right. So anyway, that's that. But life is good. Life is good every single day. Check it out. I've written some books. You can get these on Amazon.com, and they're available as ebooks and so forth. You can download those and use those. So, check them out. Tell me what you think because they're available for you out there in the world. Anyway, that's enough talking about me because I do have a guest on the show right now, and I want to really talk about anything that it is he might want to talk about. So, Greg, what's good in the hood these days?
Well, I'm just trying to get myself back in the creative vibe here. It's been like the last 4 or 5 years. I haven't been really creative with my studio or music stuff, and it comes in waves. You know how it is. You step away from it for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it just builds inside, and you've got to get it out and be creative again. So I'm looking forward to kind of upgrading a few things in here and getting back and being creative,
Well,
collaborate with some other musicians.
yeah. Let's think about this though, because back in the day, I mean, you were out there playing actively as an actual. I mean, your ability as a musician is what leads to your success, I believe, as a producer and a remixer. And I think knowing how to play, being a band leader at some point in time, and so forth, has definitely been a an attribute or a big help for you, and to bring you forward in your career and so forth.
Yeah, that's where it started with the live music. I always grew up loving music and wanting to play. I was always dabbling around with my grandma's little organ thing that she had. But when I started playing in bands, the one thing that I just hated about the band was relying on all the other people all the time, and got more into the production side of it where I could just kind of do and be it all and do everything. And I felt more comfortable doing that. But
Right. Well, let's talk Kush because you and I, in the '80s, we worked on an album by the group Kush. Now, Kush was a Nigerian group. I was contracted to work with these folks, and I worked with them mostly overseas in London and Africa, places like that. But also at the record plant in Los Angeles, so we spent some time there. But primarily created most of this record at my studio in Brooklyn Park, if you remember that. We got together and put some
yeah, I
heat.
remember that spot very well.
Well, that record did really well over there in Nigeria and so forth. It did really well for them, and then it catapulted Doppel, the guy in here in the lower left-hand corner. Doppel went on to become a producer, I mean, and a writer for artists such as Miley Cyrus and Justin Bieber. You name it, John Legend. This guy is a virtuoso, and he arrived in this country. A very humble guy who, just after a short time of having a record out and moving to LA and meeting some people and them hearing him play, was off to doing next level things, and that's awesome that we would have a chance to be involved with somebody like that early in his career.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things this show was important about this show is that I love people like that have great success, and I've met a lot of them and touched a lot of projects that people have had success with, and I'm not looking for anything other than an opportunity to bring people like you who've also had an opportunity to be involved in some of these projects forward, so people can say, okay, that's why this guy has a great studio. That's what he does with his studio. He did some records and so forth with it, and one of the downsides of when later as the industry progressed through the '90s into the 2000s is people didn't want to pay you anymore. They didn't want to give you gold records if your record was gold for your walls. I mean, it just became like a fire sale of everything that was important to me. Not that the awards were important, but everything that was important was kind of thrown away, and it became like a cookie cutter mentality. What do you think?
Yeah, actually have a royalty check from the late '90s that I never cashed. I just kept as a token of appreciation. It's like for $5.10 or something, but it's just sort of a memory that serves as, sometimes the stuff we don't do for the money. We're doing for the passion. We love it, and no matter what, we're gonna be in the studio grinding away. So, but yeah, well, obviously we'd all want to make as much money as we can, but it's just always the business has always been a little messy like that.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, if you love it, you're still doing it. I mean, and that's important. And
Yeah.
it's not about money anymore. I know it's not for me, and it hasn't been for a long time. And it's not about names and working with anybody in particular. There's no artist that would make me stop living my life the way I'm living it right now in order to work with them. I mean, I've done everything I set out to do in that arena. So, what about you? Or do you plan to just continue working independently? Because I know you worked a lot with independent artists. That seems to be your thing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to get back into it now and crank out some tunes, maybe some dancier stuff, some hip hop, R&B-ish. I don't know really what. I'm just gonna start being creative. See if I can find some great singers to work with. So anybody knows any great singers out there, hit Jeff up or myself up. I'm always looking for someone cool to work with. But I just want to put stuff out there. Like I said earlier, I don't care what happens. I just want to be creative and put it out there, and if it blows up, wonderful.
Oh man, if it blows up, there's a phrase, right? See, I
Yeah,
used to live that way, and you know what, man? We don't need to live like that anymore because you know what the truth is. If you're still creating music, original music, then guess what, man? You are doing something that a lot of people cannot make claim to. And let me and having made that statement, is it important that people like your music? Because for me, it's important that my music serve a need, a
it's just a
necessity.
therapeutic experience for me.
Uh,
It's just, doing it makes me feel at ease, happy, feel better about everything.
right.
Like releasing tension.
Well, speaking of releasing tension, you see the way I just used that music bed underneath us? Well, that music
Yeah.
bed was designed to just be like a nice little rhythmic bed under the conversation to keep the conversation flowing ahead. It worked very effectively, didn't it? Now, guess what?
Yeah, totally.
If I were to use copyright music, I would be knocked right off the air. They would smack my live right off the air, like just smack me right off. So the beautiful thing here is that because we're creative people like you, Greg, is that we're able to create original music for our needs.
That's right.
No, do people have to like that? Nobody has to dance to that at their next bar mitzvah. No. They just have to enjoy it as it fills the need underneath Greg's
Yeah.
commentary.
But I would like to hear it at that bar mitzvah sometimes.
Speaking of bar mitzvahs, let's talk about a time, Greg, back in the days. Hold on a second. I got a picture here. Well, I'm going to take you back further into the day before we go to this story. But what's happening here? Because I lost a hat like that once when I was a kid. I used to watch Daniel Boone. I lost a hat similar to that. What is that kind of hat? Is that right there, my friend? Talk to me.
Well, that is a very unique haircut right there. That I don't. That's one of a kind. I was experimenting with. I think I was cutting my own hair at that time.
You
I don't
just
know what
frightened me
look I
when you
was really
said that
going
was
for,
hair.
but
When you said that was
I think
hair,
I was
you
going for
scared
like
me
some
off.
sort of English new wave look or something.
Ah, I can see it. I love it. You know what it's called, though? You know that's called. That is called. What's that called? Tell me what it's called. I don't want to say it.
Well, that's what it's called after. It was back then. It was just called hot.
Oh, hold on. Let me find a picture of what it reminds me of when I see it. All right, hold
You're
on
sure
here.
Tiger King, all right, or whatever it is.
Nah, man, it's you. It's your boy. I might get in trouble for showing this, but let's pop it up there anyway. Here it is. Hold on. This is what I think of when I see that. Right, Joe Dirt.
Don't show it
That's the
to.
same hair. That's the same hairstyle right there, bro. You can't
Yeah, but
tell
that's
me that ain't the
see, he's
same
rocking that now. I
idea.
was rocking that like 30 years ago.
It's like that comb every day, like
At least I always
That's a
kept my
long way
shirt
down
on.
your back, homie. That's a long way down your back. That's enough clowning you about your hair, bro. You know I love you, Greg. You know I love you. That's why I clown you because I love you. You know. But speaking of which, we were
Yeah.
talking about bar mitzvahs. I know one time. Here's a little story about Greg and I. As we traveled once upon a time, we were working one way, and we were out one night really late in Atlanta. We partied one night really hard at a big party, and it was like 5 in the morning. I remember this: two guys, Greg and I, stepped into a phone booth. There was one on the left and there was one on the right. I stepped into one. Greg stepped into the other one. I stepped into one and I called a taxi to get us to our hotel. And Greg, meanwhile, was having a flat out drunk dial with somebody I think was a complete stranger. I don't even know what was going on over there. But tell us about that,
I don't know what happened, Jeff.
Greg.
Uh,
Some things are
I
better
think
off forgotten.
you put something in my drink, I think. I don't know
Oh
what.
my God,
You
man.
roofied me.
Oh, that's too funny. But I think I failed to mention that we were all the way live. But no, Greg, I would never put anything in your drink. That's ridiculous. Anyway, on a serious note, though, man, I mean, both of us were married and all of that. And both of us got divorced, bro. We got divorced right around the same time. So how's life been for you since, man?
Yeah, it's been really good. It's been part of getting away from the studio and the music stuff for the last 4 or 5 years has been part of the divorce, just kind of the cleanup side of all that and trying to piece your life back together and get everything in order. But I'm as happy as I've ever been. It's been a great got a great new girlfriend and we got a cool dog and life is good and I'm loving life right now.
Well, look, I saw some pictures. I seen some pictures. I didn't want to invade your personal space and bring your private life all over
That's
the
all
music
right.
world. But I've seen some pictures, man. And typically I look down here when I'm talking because I'm running the whole show down here. But when I say this comment, I'm gonna look right up here, Greg, because I know this is where the hot camera is right here. I've seen pictures. Let's get it. That's my guy right there. What? Life is good, man. That's right. Because you know what? We never stop living it. It just keeps on. We just keep on flowing through it. This guy says David Weckel's hair was like that. So I apologize, Greg, because miraculously the chat opened up. I don't even know what happened. I just,
Yeah,
you
well,
gotta be careful
good.
what you ask for in this world, because all of a sudden there was
Sometimes
chat.
things just work out.
There was chat. So what else, man? What else is good with you, man? Anything you want to talk to me about, or stuff, or what's going on? Anything?
No, I'm just happy to see your face, hear your voice again. It's been so long. You haven't been in a long time since we talked, and it's fun to reconnect with you. And we had some good times, and we were, that year of my life was a big part of my life. So it's kind of fun to reminisce about it all.
Well, I always had a lot of respect for you, man, because like I said, you were sonically, your studio was always much better. Your home studio was always much better than mine. You know what I mean? And I worked at obviously I worked at Flight Time most of the time when I knew you and stuff, and I don't know where I found the time to do all the stuff that we did during the day, but we managed to work around a
Yeah.
busy life and do music outside of my job, which was full time music, but. So I don't ever forget those things, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this show with you. I know we tried to do this the first time, and it was a complete train wreck because nothing worked. But when you got photos that are this cool of a guy, why wouldn't you want to have him on your show, bro? This is my guy right here. He's out there in Kabul, probably in this picture right here, going like, "Yo, take a picture of me because my hair is doing the damn thing." And that's true, Greg. So I'm not even throwing salt out here. I'm not even throwing
Yeah,
salt.
I don't know.
It's a Kabul party. It's a party out in Kabul.
Cabo Wabo.
Cabo Wabo, baby. Cabo Wabo. Hey, man. So look, I'm so glad you could come on the show, man. And I won't take up too much more of your time, but I did want to play this sound effect and let you hear it because I know you know what this is. Anyway, we won't say it because we don't want to draw any attention to it. But I figured out how to use just enough of a sample beat to get out just in time before the detectives can go, "Oh, that's so-and-so's," whatever. And I'm not using a whole bunch of stuff. Like I said, I like creating my own stuff. But so, Sonic, you got a great studio, man. I know you had a picture that you sent me recently, and I saw. Maybe it was on your Instagram. I think it was on your Instagram. I saw a picture of your studio.
Oh, yeah.
Let me pop over there real quick and see if I can find that picture. Because that was kind of dope. I was looking at your studio going like, what? Greg has got a nice setup. So let me ask you a question. Last time I was at your studio, you were living in Eden...
Lionel Lakes.
Lionel Lakes. It was somewhere way up
So
there.
still in the same place. So still have the same basement studio that I used to come over to all the time, just a little less gear than I used to have.
Ah, okay. So you are still there. Awesome, man.
Yeah, it's a great, I put all these walls up, double sheetrock on the ceiling and the walls, and it's it'd be hard to move out of here because of this.
I hear you. You got it just the way you want it. One of the things I meant to ask you about is that I noticed that you don't appear to be. You used to be a bike guy. You don't seem to be a bike guy anymore. I never see pictures of you on a bike.
Well, first of all, see that picture back there?
Yeah.
I bought that when we were down in Atlanta. But I still ride the motorcycle every once in a while. I haven't been on it as much as I used to be, but yeah, I try to get out as much as I can. But
okay, because I remember you were heavy into that back in the day.
Yeah, I was doing a lot more trips back when we were working together.
Well, I managed to find your one of the pictures on your Instagram.
Yeah.
One of the latest photos in your studio is so sexy. And that little cushion of wall of sound back there, bro, is so integral to you hearing exactly what you're doing in a mix that I think people should really be trying to get you to work on their projects because that's the attention to detail.
Yeah, I would love to be able to just mix other people's stuff. I'm always dabbling with that, and I've got a great mixing room to do that. So.
Well, like I told you, I got 2 on the skillet right now. I got 2 on the. Well, they're not even on the skillet because I got to get them out of the doggone fridge. But they're headed to the skillet, and hopefully I can get 1 or 2 or both of those to you. Get some help with that because obviously I push buttons now. That's what I do. I push buttons over on this aim, and I throw flames at people and stuff like that. Did you notice that, Greg? That was like a little flame.
I saw that. I felt that. I felt the heat there.
You felt the heat on that. So but that's about what's good, man. But I'm excited about being here. I tell you what, let me tell you a little bit about our next guest. Guess who's coming? Remember Cardell? Cardell Arnett. You remember him? Cardell is that guy, man. He is that dude up in Minneapolis that was an entrepreneur as a rapper before, like, guys were selling. Right around the time Master P was being Master P, he was being Cardell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was selling stuff out of his trunk and whatnot. I mean, this guy. So he's coming on to this show, and I can't wait till that happens. And he is coming when? Next week on the 16th, on Tuesday the 16th. Fortunately, I won't be able to do a Saturday show because I got a whole bunch of commitments on another level. But since you got me here and I'm looking at this camera saying hello to you, I want to take a time to show you some of my camera angles. This is my overhead angle where I got a music keyboard right here, a bunch of controllers for sound and other things that I do. This is my side angle. That's me for when I pick up my guitar and play along. You see my drone over there and my DAT player. That shit's vintage, baby. But, you know, I got a whole case of DATs that I still use on a regular basis. I got another angle. It wouldn't come up right now. But anyway, that's all that's going on with me, man, is I'm over here buying stuff on Amazon to try to bring to the world, like never before, the story of vines reconnecting. Bringing back and reconnecting those branches and those vines. Because we were in this together in those trenches back in the day. There's no reason why we shouldn't still be in contact or reacquainting ourselves. So I know it's weird for you when a guy calls you up and says, "Yo, bro, I haven't talked to you in like 20 years. Why don't we do a face-to-face for everybody to see? That should be fun."
That was perfect timing, Jeff.
Did you have fun?
I had a blast.
That's all that matters to me. Listen, in the meantime, you can enter the win just by tuning into my show. If you're watching my show, there's a probability that you can win a set of Olo headphones. Let me just tell you, these are really, really good headphones. You would like these. These are recording, mixing headphones, like straight up. You will not wake your spouse with these joints, and they will give you the clarity and the fidelity you need. OloAudio.com. That's how you get these. Greg.
Yes, sir.
It's been real, man. It's been real. And
been good to reconnect.
Hopefully everything goes well with you in the future. And I'm here, bro. If you need anything from me, please don't hesitate to reach out and talk to me, man. As you move
I'll be reaching out to you for some singer contacts in the future for sure. So.
And I'll do what I can to help you, bro. You know I will. So let's keep writing music, keep being creative, and keep tuning into the Madjef show out there, people, because there is really an opportunity for you to see and learn something from people that you just didn't know were back behind those curtains doing those things, but they've been making music and doing things that you've been enjoying for years, and you just didn't know it. So let's shine a little light on that. Reconnect these vines with my old friends like Greg. So, Greg, guess what, man? We out of here, bro. I'm about to roll them out of here. This is it. This is the Madjef Music Show. And I am your host, Madjef. Now here's an important thing, an important reminder for you. This is fun. Don't burn yourself on the way out. Scoot your back up against the door and slide on out. Till the next time, Madjef Music. Peace.